Okay, welcome to the relativity demo for today, and wanted to give you a little bit of background about relativity. It is a web-based platform that runs over the HTTP protocol with 128 secure bit security, the same encryption that banks and financial institutions use to host personal data online. A few quick notes about security. Relativity requires a strong password. You're going to have a mixture of uppercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Additionally, with the content being viewed in a native file viewer or TIFF image viewer, it's streamed and directly from the server into memory on the local machine. Nothing, and this is important, nothing is ever written into a temporary internet cache directory or hard drive. We can also lock down reviews by IP address. So if you have a bunch of contract attorneys who should only be able to hit relativity on site, or if you have a bunch of partners who want to be able to hit relativity anywhere, all you really need is an internet connection. We can provide that level of security either way. Finally, relativity provides two-factor authentication. If you have an enterprise installation relativity, it even integrates with Active Directory to provide a single sign-on. So now I'm going to log in here in a second to relativity as a power user. So let me get that up and going. You're going to notice there are a lot of bells and whistles turned on, but I'm going to be demoing a lot of the end-user functionality at first, such as viewing native files. We're going to code them, we're going to redact, we're going to do some tagging, and a little browsing and searching as well. In the end, I'll come back and we'll do more basic review to show firsthand how relativity can really slim down to meet the need of a more contracted viewer or basic reviewer, the amount of documents they really need to look at. Okay, so let's get started. First, I'm going to log in as Reviewer 1. When I log into Relativity, I am presented with a workspace list or a list of repositories that the user has access to. The security model in Relativity is highly granular, so we can deny rights to users and groups from anything as large as a case or all the documents within it to something as small as an individual document. Note, there is no administrative end-user interface in Relativity. It is one seamless application. We simply deny permissions to our users based on what they need to be efficient in the system and do their job. Additionally, it gives firm the ability to control their own destiny with respect to administrative features. For instance, maybe a little example, if you wanted to add, let's say, new coding forms or new options of coding forms, you could also run productions within Relativity. Even if you're using Relativity through a hosted instance, this gives you the same level of traditional control that you would have had with an in-house installation. Okay, so let's continue on with the demo. I'm going to log into a salt and pepper demo case. Relativity enables a tab-based metaphor for organizing different sections of the application, and by default, I've bounced into a document tab where a bulk of the view will occur. Now, if I access more administrative features or integrated product suite, for example, there would be more tabs across the top. See right across the top here, all these tabs? When I don't have this permission, the tabs disappear from content entirely, so I'm not aware that they even exist. This is important. This is persistent idea within Relativity that when users don't have permission to something, they're not going to show them the grayed out options. But instead, we're going to remove those options entirely so they're not aware that they exist. We find that new reviewers can be up and productive in Relativity in as little as 10 to 15 minutes of training by presenting them with only the options they need to be efficient in the systems they do the jobs in. Okay, continuing on with the demo, we're going to kind of work around the documents a little bit, and I'll show you some options and some neat things that the tool is able to perform utilizing documents. There's a lot of functionality here on the main screen that I'm going to skip over for now while I drill into the document. This is a core reviewer interface in Relativity. Note that I can jump back to the document list by clicking on a link on the top left. At the top right, I have some options of configuring my display. I can show the doc listed above the doc. I can also have the ability to undock this record for a multi-monitor review. I can flip my coding data to the left, as you can see, and the document to the right. In the upper left-hand corner here, I have an indication of which record I am viewing. In this case, you can see that it's AS013. You will notice my file icon gives me a visual indication of the kind of record being displayed below on my native file viewer. Over here, you can see this envelope which means I haven't. This document's an email. You'll notice that my cursor changes from an arrow to a hand when I hover over the icon, indicating that I have the ability to download a copy of this file locally, but only if I have been granted the rights. Again, only if I've been granted the rights to do so. In fact, depending on the security requirements of the case or the user, we can really lock down the system. You can prevent users from downloading a file, printing a document locally, copying the text to viewer, or running a print screen. So if you have a security sensitive client but doesn't want any information to escape the contractor reviewer's workstation, you can provide the level of security. Moving on, over here in the upper right hand corner, I have a collaboration tool, and I'm able to email a hyperlink of this record to another member of the review team. If I were to click on the envelope icon, it would fire up Outlook on my machine with the URL in the body and the control number in the subject line. When another member of the review team clicks on the hyperlink, it will be able to authenticate the relativity, and assuming they are in the rights to relativity itself, the case and the document, they could be bounced right into a core reviewer's interface and the document in question. If they don't have all the necessary permissions, that link doesn't do them any good. The series of radio buttons above the document store, the different versions of documents and relativity, you can see here. Right now we're looking at the record in a native file reviewer, which I'll come back to in a minute, but I can also look at this document in an original native application as a TIFF image of the document, and that's whether we're doing some TIFFing on the fly inside of relativity, if it's a paper-based collection that's been scanned and coded ahead of time, or if it's a smaller electronic collection that made sense to go to TIFF before review. I can look at the extracted text or the OCR associated with the record. And finally, as you can see, every time this document is produced, it stores a produced copy along with the original for quick, easy reference. I'll come back and talk a little more about that later in the demo as well. Okay, now let's go back and look at the native file reviewer. Kcura licensed the technology from Oracle called Outside In, the same technology you may be familiar with from the program called QuickView Plus. It allows us to get a high-fidelity, static rendering of the file on the fly, without the need to convert to TIFF, PDF, or HTML behind the scenes. So we can give users the speed and control that they're used to in a TIFF basic review without the time and cost normally associated with the conversions. Because we have licensed technology and got our hooks onto it, Relativity lets users interact with native files in richer ways that would have been able to do with the systems that convert to low resolution TIFF or HTML behind the scenes. For instance, we can go in, copy text out of the viewer, paste it, submit it to a search engine. Let's talk about the relativity analytics. It's important to set up. It's a concept search, it's categorization, it's clustering features right within the application. You'll also note that right now the term relativity and the document here on the screen are already highlighted for us. This is a concept referred to as persistent highlighting. That is, which allows me to do is always, any time in the review process, I can feed relativity a list of terms. Maybe a list of potential privileged words or keywords in a case, and have them keyed out by the viewers regarding whether or not this actually users generated such criteria. They can also color code for recognition. So maybe magnet here is a privilege word, and green indicates a key player. Looking here on the screen, additionally to the left of the view, you will have our persistent highlighting tree. The persistent highlighting tree allows users to control which hits they want to see on the term or set of terms, and provide instant recognition as to which hits are contained within the record or the frequency of the hits. We're completely securable from user to user and from group to group. Okay, let's talk about some common types of files that you can take a look at here in the native file reviewer. Here we have an Excel spreadsheet. We've all seen them. We've all had to deal with them. You'll notice I can maintain control of this document. I can resize my columns. I can get persistent highlighting. I can use those blue arrows to navigate from hit to hit. So if I were to do a keyword search and return a hit 12,000 rows into an Excel file, I could use these blue arrows, as I'm showing you here on the screen, to jump straight to my hit and have it keyed out for me instead of having to wade through the Excel nightmare. Secondly, we can talk about the PowerPoint presentation. Note, I still have a persistent highlight, and I can use the blue arrow to jump from hit to hit within the various slides of the PowerPoint presentation. Thirdly, we're able to use Word documents in various foreign languages, and the example here I'm going to show you is in Korean. Relativity is a fully Unicode complement, so it can load, search, and display foreign languages, double-bit languages, and CJK characters. You can get persistent highlighting, tagging, and coding. We can copy foreign words out of the viewer. You can paste them, submit them to search engines. You can TIFF them. All the same functionality you can get from the English language documents is available with the foreign language documents here in Relativity. And a very important feature in my mind is the embedded content. Because the native file reviewers only shows you the finalized version of a document, it isn't always evident to the reviewer that the embedded content exists. In Relativity, you can actually configure the system to throw an alert to our reviewers to let them know that the type of document or data is present. So here we have an alert, and I'll read you what it says. It says, the document contains tracked changes and comments. Please view the image for this record to see the hidden content. Okay, and it says, okay, click here, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click here, okay, flip over the image. As you can see, we were already able to TIFF this document on the fly with the track changes, comments included, and I can make coding decisions on it from here as well. So in summary, I've showed you 4 pretty typical things that you might run into in a review. Are there any questions or comments about the native file review so far? Okay, well, let's continue on, and we'll move to redacting and annotations in Relativity with the next part of our demo.